you doing this morning, man?
Doing awesome,
God
man.
Almighty,
Finally
man.
good to be here.
I'm telling you,
It's been
man.
a minute and a half trying to get here, but it's
Man,
good to be here.
Thanks, man. Thanks. And man, I was surprised because I know when the alarm hit this morning and I took a look at the temperature, I'm like, oh my God.
It was chilly, man.
Nobody's coming out. No.
Yeah, it was chilly. I was waiting for a call maybe to see if it was canceled.
No.
But we're on our hustle.
Yeah, and we're on our hustle. And my producer would have put a foot in my butt if I would have canceled out, man. So I'm like, wow.
Plus,
man,
it's the wake up.
It's the wake
It's
up
the
call,
wake up
man.
call,
It's the
man.
wake up call. So it's taken us a while to get you in, but George, man, thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it.
George, how's everything been going with you, man?
It's going great. You know, life is what we make it. I believe that we control the narrative in our lives. And I know that the theme of our show here is the wake up call.
Yes.
And I think everybody in life at some point in their time will experience an opportunity for a wake up call. Whether they wake up or not, that's a different issue.
Yes.
But I believe everybody has different times in their life. If you could use a metaphor, it's though heaven opens up and provides you with an opportunity. But the power rests in the decision, in making the choice to move forward. I'm here because I desire to move forward in my life.
Exactly.
And so, you know, you have a message. I have a message. We want to help people.
Yeah.
There's millions of people out there who don't have direction, don't have a sense of purpose for their life. Some people are fighting for their very life, whether it be sickness, whether it be a breakup, whether it be a financial difficulty. People are in the struggle.
They're in the struggle.
And they're looking for answers to life's questions.
I try to tell everybody, no matter how good we make it look, there's always things going on behind the curtains, behind closed doors. And, you know, but I'll tell you, man, I've been watching you for quite some time. I was excited when they told me we've got the man, George coming in, Mr. AJ, and I'm like, holy cow, okay. I've watched you for a while now, man, and you really inspired me because, I did a little background on you. So you've had a real interesting life. You've been in the ministry. You've been on the circuit.
Live to tell about it.
Yeah, live to tell about it. We're still vertical, George. And I mean, we're, while time doesn't wait for anybody, and I believe we're not getting older, we're just getting better.
Absolutely.
Which means better and bigger stories.
That's right.
But yeah, man.
And, you asked me before we started taping, you were asking me a question. You said, what was your life like before your wake-up call?
Yeah. Tell us about that.
I was a young cat growing up on the south side of Chicago, inner city. Got mixed up with, the wrong people. Yeah. Or maybe they were the right people. I don't know. It's all part of the journey. And I'm still friends with a lot of these people to this day via Facebook and other social media. But, I always had this sense that there was something special about me, man. To be quite honest with you, that there was more to life than what I was currently experiencing. Now, during that time in the 70s, I was dealing drugs and fighting and in and out of jail and blah, 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 all that messy stuff.
Yeah.
But, I started having wake-up calls. Even though I wasn't fully conscious, it was like, okay, my buddy Rick Avila got shot by a .357 Magnum out in front of his house 4 times.
Hold on, let me stop you.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Rick Avila.
Wow.
Yeah.
My stepfather, he just passed away a couple of years ago in a motorcycle accident. Rick Ravella.
No kidding.
Yeah.
This is pretty close.
Pretty
man.
close. I'm like, whoa, hold on, okay.
So, people are going to jail and people are dying, and I'm showing up to these gang fights, and all of a sudden guns are starting to be introduced, and I'm at a point where I'm like, man, there's got to be more to life than this. Yeah. This sucks. This is bottom barrel shit. You know. I couldn't articulate it. I can articulate it today,
right.
But I knew that there was something better for me. So, I started out. My dad was Mr. Mexico in 1957, bodybuilder. My dad in 1957 also came to Chicago to play in the Pan American Games to represent Mexico, which is where he met my mom at Grant Park. And, here I am a year later, when they met. And, Dad decided not to go back with the team. He fell in love, and they caught him, deported his butt back.
Wow.
That happened 3 times. And it was something that I caught from my dad was always self-improvement. I remember, going with my dad, working 3 jobs, and one of them was a janitor in the middle of the night. He would tell me his dreams. He would tell me his vision. He would tell me about certain wake-up calls. He didn't use that terminology, but
Right.
I knew what he was talking about. He was dreaming. And then as a young man, I'm the oldest, I saw him come to pass. And I saw this janitor, this guy with a 7th grade education from Mexico City, never had a dad. All of a sudden, he's the #1 radio television personality in Chicago in Spanish television, WXRT, and Channel 38 and 26. And
So would you say your dad kind of inspired you to be
absolutely
the guy you are today?
Yeah, my dad is the biggest hero in my life. He's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
But my dad was a man's man. He's the guy from 5 years old. Okay, put up your hands.
Wow.
This is how you throw. This is how you stand. This is how you treat people.
Wow.
You know, life lessons. Dad was always teaching. You know.
I knew you were going to be special when I saw you, because now the more and more we share these stories, coincidences are never. It's just what the man has in store, what the plan is. My father also, believe it or not, Golden Gloves in the Marines. Nice. Only Spanish dude in the platoon. Oh, okay. So you know he caught hell, you know.
Yeah, especially back in that day.
And back in the day, yeah. And it was kind of cute because all through growing up, you know, we always had big houses and stuff. Dad was, like you say, he was the hustler.
Yeah.
He always instilled in you, do it right, do it one time, then you don't have to come back. And if you've got to prove a point, make sure everybody's around to see that point.
Sure.
So then you don't have any riffraff in the future.
Exactly.
But it was cute, man, because anytime I would have one of my girlfriends, or I dated and stuff, so I'd have a girlfriend in the garage. We're looking at the BMX bikes, because that was my thing back in the day, riding the BMX.
Really?
Yeah.
I raced for Team Mongoose.
Oh, hell. See how this thing's going now. It's going to go bad.
A lot of relating here, man.
This is going to be like, what are those guys talking about? This isn't a wake-up call. This is a let's go back to the old. Dad used to come in the garage with his shirt off and hit the speed bag. Yeah. And the girls would be like, who's that? I'm like, get out of here, man. Then I was like, Dad, what's with the bag? He's like, man, I'm just trying to stay in shape. I go, I know what you're trying to do, but that's a small world, because, yes, Dad was a boxer. He instilled my greatness, and, you know, we lost him, 30 years ago, and it just, things have never been the same for me.
I bet you still have never gotten over it. I still miss my dad. I've never gotten over it.
I'll tell people I would do 2 fingers just to bring Mom and Dad back for one day.
Sure.
Right now I'm going through a stage to where, you know, people take loss differently, but hell, if I could just put my head in my mom's lap and smell my dad's Old Spice, man, I would have everything.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Just for a day now.
I appreciate that, and I can identify with that, sure.
Yeah, man.
So, you know, back onto the wake-up call, you know, it's like I realized that I had to change my life. And so I started doing it through, well, I did 9 years of wrestling, martial arts. Then we started doing like these Roman Greco tournaments and freestyle tournaments. But I couldn't find any peace in that either.
Right.
And I finally, you know, had a buddy who, I actually sold him his first drugs. And he went to some church and they said, think of the worst person you can think of. And we're going to pray for that person for 30 days. Then you're going to go witness and tell them about Jesus. Well, I made the board.
Yeah.
They had my mugshot up there with some other guys. And so these people were praying and doing their thing. And so he got the nerve up to come tell me about Jesus.
Uh-huh.
Well, what was interesting was, Mario, is that for months I was having these dreams. I'd come home from the party, whatever, and I would go to sleep and I would dream about dying. Wow. And in death, in that dream, it would just go to black. There was nothing. And I would wake up in this cold sweat, like it was real.
Yeah.
I was soaked, and I was like, I got to deal with my eternity, man. You know, this is where my mind was, and this is where my religious culture was coming out of Catholicism. And so, yeah, I'm going to church, man, and I gave my life to Jesus and all that stuff. And next thing you know, I'm in Bible college and seminary, and next thing you know, I've got a church of like 4 or 5 people meeting in a little house, and that turned over 3,000 people.
Wow.
And you know, it was amazing how answering a wake-up call. It's not just about receiving the wake-up call. It's answering, listening, and then acting. And so that's what I did. I went I'm done with this life. And I'm starting a new life. So all these friends, started a new social circle. Didn't realize that as I did all this, as I was in church, growing, the average size church in America on a Sunday is 100 people. Right. I had over 3,000 on a Sunday. Jeez. Multiple services, 2 on the morning, 1 at night, 1 on Wednesday, another on Friday for kids. We were doing great things, but something I was realizing, Mario, I got another wake-up call in that life that I was in. And I began to see that certain things weren't panning out. And the higher I climbed up the ladder in this church world, when you see some of the darlings on your television, I was seeing that our lives weren't matching up to what we were saying.
Yes.
And I tell you, Mario, I believe in the hustle. I believe in stepping up and answering the wake-up call. But you know, sometimes along the way, the wrong people also want to attach for the ride.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes.
And I know you've experienced that along the way.
Yeah, it's, I believe that, and we have had some just amazing people in the box here at the Wake Up Call, that have some really good stories. And not everybody gets to experience certain wake-up calls like we have.
It's true.
In this short amount of time we've been sitting at this table, I know we're men of God. It took us a long time to get there. We'll talk about BMXing later.
Sure.
The wrestling thing's cool. I think I got my wake-up call when I went away as well. It's hard because when you're in a 3-7 box, it's totally dark. You're either going to find yourself real quick or you're not. You'll either be the lamb or the lion. And, for me, I was on a self-surrender. I too got myself in some trouble with some guys that I thought were real good friends. And they were. We all were good friends, but things happen, Yeah. But, I was on a self-surrender for 1 year. So I literally had a year to really kind of get life together, which it was even more upside down than it was. But by the time I got back home, I think that's where the wake-up call came in for me. And, then we all have different things that come into play that, you're on the right road, but sometimes, like you say, you've got people over here grabbing at you that have alternative motives.
I call them the parasites of the kingdom. A parasite is defined as a living organism that cannot sustain life within itself, but it must attach itself to a host in order to survive. And boy, I tell you, man, as well as you know, that there's plenty of those out there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, to continue in on the story, so here I was, a very successful pastor. I'm traveling around the world. Spoke at Carnival in Brazil 3 times to over 1 million people. It was wine, dine, best hotels and all this. But I'm realizing I'm getting another wake-up call, man. And it's going contrary to the message of Christianity, of the sect or denomination that I was in. And now there's conflict going on.
Because I'm going in different directions.
Well, here I am. I'm aspiring to grow a great church and help people and make a difference in people's lives. And the higher I climbed up the ladder, I saw that people weren't living what they were saying. And so here I am, not even knowing at that time that I was learning something about the anthropos, the makeup of man, our species, humankind, We're capable of such awesome things. And yet we're capable of such horrendous things. And so here I am, and I'm thinking, and I want to get to this part. So a friend of ours who was a very influential man in Christianity, and he was on 60 Minutes, and he wrote this book and called The Gospel of Inclusion. And it cost him everything. The church turned their back on him. They crucified him. They ran him down. And he lost everything, and he had to rebuild. And so we were talking, and I'm a bit of a linguist, and I love Greek, Aramaic, and Hebrew, and just tools that I had to learn in seminary to be able to teach the Bible and stuff like that. So I check him out to prove him wrong, because he said something that was contrary to the way that I grew up. And he said, hell is a myth. And man, my brakes just went, you know. And I'm like, man, I was like, I don't know. He's like, you're a linguist? He goes, prove me wrong. I said, bet.
Oh.
So I dove, I got all my works out, and I went from Genesis to Revelation and in between and looked up every scripture on hell and did a proper exegesis. There's 5 logs to exegesis. I applied them. Only to find out at the end of that 2.5-year study that he was right and I was wrong.
Oh.
It shook everything in my life. When I discovered that Constantine the Emperor at the end of the 4th century, beginning of the 5th century, paid off the church fathers, and they wrote creeds, and they brought the church from the outside in the community, and they put it into one place, and he used it for political gain. And all of a sudden, you see, because who's the church? The church is you.
Yeah.
Church is me. The Greek word is ecclesia.
Yeah,
it describes a group of people that are called out to accomplish a certain mission or purpose. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, wait a minute. The Hebrews, they don't even talk about hell. Mm-hmm. They have no concept of hell. You just went to you went to the bosom of Abraham, or what the Hebrews in the Bible calls Sheol, which is the Hebrew word for the place of transition. So remember, Christianity is a Judeo religion. It has its roots in Judaism. So I'm sitting there looking back and I'm going, oh my God. I have been spewing this out and scaring the hell out of people. And yet, and then I went to the New Testament, Mario, and I looked up every verse, starting with Jesus. And the first one was when Jesus said, if you say to your brother, stupid idiot, raka raka is the Aramaic, mm-hmm. you shall be in danger of hellfire. And I went, man. I remember the first week I got born again and I started reading the Bible. I was like, man, I certainly have committed that and that and that. And I thought, but what does that mean? Well, raka just means you're an idiot. How many times have you gotten pissed off at your friend and called him a freaking idiot or something like that? Well, I looked up the word there for hell. And it's the Greek word Gehenna. And it was the name of the garbage dump northeast of Jerusalem.
Oh, babe.
And I got it at that point. I went, he wasn't talking about some fiery furnace. He was talking about that if I treat you wrong as my brother, our relationship ends up in a garbage dump.
Exactly.
And I went, oh.
Exactly.
So then I tore into all the other scriptures. To make a long story short, I'm having a wake-up call. Major. I have built over 30 years of my life and my income around church life, around Jesus, the message of Jesus, man. And all I ever wanted to do, Mario, you know, I wish I could tell you an angel came down and called me to the ministry. He didn't. It was the very fact that I just wanted to give back. I remember acknowledging that I had a new opportunity, that I could start over in life. I had a second chance.
Let me ask you, for a lot of people, when they really get this wake-up call, okay, for me, I've seen the light a couple times.
Yeah.
I've heard the voice.
The old Blue Brothers. I've seen the light.
Yeah, no, I've seen the light and heard the voice. I have. I'm real proud to say that because it's got me a long way.
Absolutely.
And there's, what was your, direct link to where you just knew,
that I had to leave what I was doing?
That, for me, like I say, we seem like we had the same, we're on the same roads and we're doing what we're doing, and then all of a sudden we stray, but then there's that direct bam, this is the day.
For me,
yeah,
it was the issue of hell. And when I realized that was false, I could no longer do what I was doing with integrity anymore. I could no longer look into a crowd of people and say, if you don't do this and this and this, you're going to burn in eternity. I couldn't do that anymore.
Right.
And, it was the first words out of my mouth when I knew I was wrong was, oh shit. Mm-hmm. Here I am sitting in my $1 million ranch, looking out my 8 acres, knowing I'm going to lose this all, man.
Yeah. We're going to lose it.
I'm going to lose everything.
We eventually do.
Yeah. And I'm like, what matters most, I'll tell you what helped me. There's always activators along the way, you know,
Right.
whether it's a sign, a literal sign, or a
Right.
commercial or a radio, but it resonates with you. You're like, I know everybody else would think that's stupid crazy, but man, that just spoke to me. And you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I was having lunch with a gentleman yesterday that, geez, I haven't seen him in a while, but I follow him. We talk and stuff, and I watch what he does. He's a real successful builder here in Austin. But he said one thing that really stuck to me, and that is, you know, is what you're doing bringing value? And that is really
That's the question.
stuck in my mind, man. I mean, he's like,
What are you
Mario,
bringing to the table?
you gotta just ask yourself, is what you're getting ready to do? You know, we all know right from wrong. We all do, man. We all know what
We all have that
know
sense.
what he expects of us, and you know, man. I mean, I always say I don't go deep into religion and I don't go deep into politics because
Right.
everybody's got their own
Absolutely.
way, shape, and form of it. But I do know this: with we all know right from wrong, and sometimes we always don't make the right decisions, but. You know, it's like he said, Mario, you have to ask yourself, is what you're getting ready to do, does it bring value to the table? Does it bring value to the big picture?
Right.
And if you're really true to yourself, that if that answer is no, then you just know. But sometimes it's hard to...
And what you're saying there is authenticity.
Yes.
The very when you lose or you don't discover your authenticity, if you're not true to yourself, then you're just a parrot.
Yeah.
You're mimicking other people, things, climate, social, networks.
Everything.
Why? For the sake of acceptance.
Yeah.
Acceptance is a bitch.
And we all know that at the end of the day, the only person that counts is the man above.
Yeah.
Who you wake up with.
You know, just as we're talking about spiritual things, it's amazing. You know, when I walked away and I knew that I was going to have to change my whole life, you know, I was branded a heretic. Not only was I branded a heretic, but then I had one of my staff members who was murdered at a women's store. And church people told the police and the FBI that I had her murdered. And they came down from Chicago with the FBI and a task force of over 20 people. They raided my ranch, my restaurant. They went to all my vendors. They chased my own son Jared down in a car with my little kids, with about 10 vehicles on 281 in Marble Falls, yelling, screaming, and it was a very difficult time in our life.
Oh, yeah.
But I knew I had nothing to do with it,
Right.
and yet that added to the wake up call.
Sure.
You know, it's like one, I saw how fickle people were.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you could be a hero today and be a zero tomorrow.
Boy, in
like
a second,
that, man.
in a second.
As my Puerto Rican friend would say, "Ba quick."
But yeah,
quick.
Yeah,
And-
I think the morning they came and got me, and it's a very uncomfortable when you got like 15, 20 black jackets with the white letters.
Yeah, it's very unnerving.
But I'm going to tell you something, man. That is the most rewarding feeling ever. You know, it's like eventually that day is going to come. Like you said, you're looking out at your ranch, you're looking out at your 3-tier fountain, your horseshoe driveway. You know, you got all the bells and whistles, and in the meantime, in the back of your mind, you know it's all gone. You know, eventually it's going to be taken. And
The only difference with me, Mario, is I didn't know. Because I honestly believe that the people around me who said they were for me were for me.
yeah, no,
And so that was a wake up call.
Yes.
I had many wake up calls within the wake up call. You
and
know?
you realize your friends.
Oh.
you have friends, and those friends are. I call them acquaintances.
Yeah.
I love my friends, and I've got a lot of acquaintances. I've got a lot of people that know me, but you know, you
But very
really know
few
who
friends.
loves you.
Yeah.
When you're, like Dad says, when you die, when you get sick, or when you go to prison. You know.
You
just
find
know.
out.
And man, I'll tell you something, man. I've been in towns where, close and personal friends were having a funeral. And people in that same town were too busy to go to that thing. So
Let
that's
you know
when you
who's
really
who.
know. So
And that's what I got out of it. I was like, well, I could look at it negatively, but the positive thing is it immediately identified who was who in my life.
For sure.
There was no guessing anymore.
No guessing.
And I was like, and I think that's one of the things that I took out of my process so far. You're 59, I'm 58. We feel good. We're aging. We're
man.
like good wine. It just gets better, right?
Better.
And I'm sitting here thinking, there's got to be a better life for me, man. One where I can keep my integrity and my authenticity intact. For that, now there was a guy by the name of Andrew Cohen. You might want to look him up someday. AndrewCohen.org. He's a great writer. He's the editor of Spiritual Magazine, and he came up with the 5 tenets of life. And when I got to the third one, it said that you must, if you want to be free, you must be so brutally honest with yourself that you must be willing to give up anything for the sake of that authenticity. And I knew that at that point in my life, I was lying to my wife. I was cheating on my wife. I was hanging around people that were not giving me good advice.
Yeah.
And I realized, wow, man, hell is not what they say it is. And then I started finding other things. Now, this is just me. This is not just for everybody. This is my path, my journey. And it meant a lot to me. See, I don't say stuff I don't believe.
Right.
And because I used to do that. And I had that wake-up call. And I prided myself on being a researcher, and I love reading and all this stuff, and had a lot of books in the day. But it was like, man, if people's lives truly aren't changing for the better, then what am I doing? You said earlier,
Right.
Is it bringing value to the table?
Bringing value to the table.
And I realized that, like when I came in church, they took off one set of chains and they put on another set of chains.
Yeah, it's like you jump from one frying pan into the other.
And I'm gonna tell you something, Mario. I'm from the south side of Chicago, man. You have a rough background too, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you something. The most ruthless, toughest people are church people. They will look you in the eye, brother.
Yeah, no, I
with
get
tears
it.
coming down, and tell you they love you and for you, and then they will rip you off, do you bad, talk bad about you, run you down, all in the name of Jesus. And I tell you what, I have found more authenticity with a guy sitting on a Harley with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and a beer, because he's going to cut it straight to you.
Yeah, you never know.
And that's not everybody.
Yeah, it's
there's
not
people
everybody.
out there
No.
living it,
Yeah,
and they're doing their best.
Yeah, man. And
but we're just talking my perspective.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I mean, I'm right there with you. There's a lot of good people out there, sure enough. But hell, I'll just tell you, man, the book is very uncomfortable. Most people don't follow it. They say they do, but they don't. And I'll tell you, and this is what I know in my heart, it takes more than just putting that 20 or that 100,000 in the bucket.
Absolutely.
To be able to go through the gates. It just doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't. Because he knows what's in your heart. And the money's not going to convince him any otherwise.
Going through that, Mario, I realized something.
Hell, there's people that don't even know what... there's people that want me to know they quote scripture, but then they ask me, what's that, Mario? What's that, Mario? What is this, Mario?
Yeah.
What's this? I mean, these are most...
That's cool.
Yeah. It's the first thing that was found in the tomb on the wall after Jesus was gone. And, what good is it to have the world if you've got to forfeit your soul? And this is what got me, man.
I love that verse, by the way,
we'll let you get back.
Yeah.
But, man, I sat at the table one day, and I explained to this. And it was back then, I think she was 17 maybe. I said, yeah. She says, what is that, Dad? I said, Mark 8:36. What good is it to have the world if you have to forfeit your soul? She says, oh, wow, Dad. Kind of like what you did. Oh, wow, Dad.
Heavy.
Kind of like what you did.
Yeah.
And when she said that, I was like, whoa, from a 14-year-old, And, man, that really changed my life, man.
What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and yet loses his soul? The actual Greek translation on that is he splits his soul.
Yes.
Where we get the English word for schizophrenia.
Yeah. And that's crazy because we've had it all. We've had it all now. We had it all. We had the money, the cars.
Sure.
Hell, the morning they got my stuff. A real good friend of mine that works for me, and it's just like you said, it's always going to be the one sitting at the table with you. He goes through the neighborhood as soon as he gets to work. They just got him.
Yeah.
It's all on the trailers. It's all on the flatbeds. They got him. Hell, I was back to work.
The haters.
14 days later because that chair was worth a lot of money, and I was filling it to a high degree. So, but yeah, it's strange because it's the people most closest to you that, and you have people that put their arms around you and go, oh, I love you. Just let me take care of it. Yeah. And sometimes you can be in certain situations where you're going, oh my God, that's a blessing because for me, there's certain things I can't do anymore because of my wreck and stuff. But when you feel good about that, and I mean, I'll tell you within a blink of an eye, once you start doing the books and numbers don't lie, oh my God, that hug turned into a damn straitjacket,
my thing in all of our discussion here and for the viewers is, no matter what situation they might find themselves in, they've got to know that there's hope.
Oh, always.
And hope from the biblical hope, the word hope is the Greek word elipis, and it means a happy anticipation of good and favorable things that are coming to me. That's hope, man.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing today? I have hope. I have a happy anticipation of good and favorable things coming to my life. Because that's what this podcast is about, is that there are people who are going to watch this and they're going to be like, that's my wake-up call. Yeah. Something that Mario said when he said, I see the light. Every time I hear that, I think of the old Blues Brothers movies. when they're in church.
Yeah.
And they're in Chicago, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And he sees the light.
A lot of people think it's crazier than hell for Mario to be sitting here doing interviews with guys as great as you and the host,
But that's what's wonderful about it, is that you didn't stay where you were. You did. And here, I'm going to say this to you right now because you're going to identify with this. If I learned anything, it has been this: that we must learn the art of reinventing ourselves. I realized that. I was like, wow, man, you've got to keep evolving. You got to reinvent yourself. Yeah. I can tell you great stories about my past, but I'm more excited about my today and even more enthusiastic about my tomorrow.
Yes.
And so, one of the reasons that, you click with my son Jared and myself and others like us is that we're in that process. We understand that spirituality is universal, but faith is personal, and that's what is sacred to us. Yeah. My job is not to unconvince you of what type of faith you have, but rather to encourage that faith and that belief.
Yes, sure.
Because if that system is working for you, rock on, man.
Yeah.
Rock on.
Yeah.
The point is not so much what vehicle are you going to use to get to the destination, but more so that you get there.
You get there. That's it.
I don't care if you did a Chevy, a Buick, or a Caddy. I mean, it doesn't matter as long as you get there.
As you're there.
And I think that if I could say this, that in relation to wake-up calls, because wake-up call number one, that's where I used to be, drugs, alcohol, fighting, all this. Then I got, wake-up call and I got born again and became a pastor and did all that. Then I got another wake-up call and I left that. And now I'm here. And I've regained some things that are very valuable. My integrity, my authenticity, my peace, my health. So, which are foundational things. Now that I have that back, I can build on that.
Sure.
My problem as a young man, I built a large organization, with my other businesses. You're talking about a little over $3 million on the annual. Well, I'm nobody. I didn't, I barely made it out of my neighborhood with the people I was running with. And some didn't make it out. So I think, so wonderful for my past, so grateful for my today, and very excited about tomorrow. And I would encourage people to start hanging around life-giving people. You know as well as I do. You talk to some people and you feel like they've sucked the life out of you. Like you need to go take a nap. And then you get around other people and you're like,
Yeah.
Let's go kick some ass.
Yeah,
I
man,
feel
yes,
great. I
yes.
feel inspired,
Yes.
motivated, and educated.
Yeah.
Those are the people we want to be around.
It takes us, George, it takes us a while to get there.
It does.
And unfortunately, as we grow and we strive to get to these levels, it takes us a while to understand truly. I mean, it's like what is it, Dan Penna Sr. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Right.
Boom.
Absolutely.
Right now, for me, I'm going through a time because I love all my friends. I love them to death. But, we're all going in different directions. And, this wake-up call and, the stuff you've done and stuff you're doing, it's not for everybody.
No.
And and yes, we put a lot of time and efforts and energy and love and passion into things that sometimes we know we're not going to get anywhere with that. Mm-hmm. And we strive to, I know I can fix it. I know I can fix it. I just know if it works for me, it can work for anybody.
And that's one of our greatest Achilles heels. People like us, who are somewhat talented and gifted in communication and motivation and stuff like that, is that we end up doing a disservice to people because we think, I can fix you. Yeah. And you can't fix nobody.
No.
They got to want to fix themselves.
They've got to want it. And sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow, George, because you don't want to have to walk away. Yeah. But it's like I tell people, I give everybody the opportunity now to where, yes, I do believe for guys like us, if you're not picking up what we're putting down, I get it. But hell, if we can do it and we can make it, anybody can,
Absolutely.
Man. Anybody can, man. I mean, right now, there's so many opportunities for folks. You just got to be able to get up, put it together. Hell, once again, I mean, I could have never done any of this stuff without my team. Right. I woke up one day and had the damn text message sent to me with this crazy picture on it. And
awesome.
And I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to be? And my reality became this,
Yeah. And it's just the beginning.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Anybody can do anything. And sometimes it's hard to walk away, man. I'm really having to do that right now myself. I don't know about you with your guys, but right now I'm having to love a lot of people from afar.
Absolutely.
You can love them with your arms around you. They make that decision.
It'll be the best
afar.
thing you've ever done because it accomplishes different things, Mario. Number one, it accomplishes that you are maximizing your time.
Yeah.
Number two, you're maximizing and stewarding your gift properly.
Yes.
You're just not scattering it around.
Once again, does it bring value to the...
Exactly.
Am I bringing value?
Exactly.
Mario, can we sit down and have lunch? What are we talking about? Well, I wanted to go...
What's the purpose?
Yeah.
I just want to shoot the shit.
No.
I ain't got time to shoot shit, man.
Yeah. And boy, I've learned from a very smart person. And you're never too old to learn.
That's right.
I've got a really I consider to be one of my best mentors right now. He's probably half my age. Man, I learn something from that guy every damn day, man.
You keep people close like that.
And it's really true, man. You have to come.
And you don't have a
point.
lot of people like that.
No, you don't.
They're diamonds in the...
Yes. So if you only have one or two or three of those people, boom. Yep. All you can do is elevate. And then from that elevation, you're going to meet other people that now gravitate to you. And there are classes of people to where I've got a team of guys that I hang out with, man. They do not want to see me fail. I mean, my Pakistani brothers, man, we all play cricket. Mm-hmm. They've always got the music, the food, and Mario, and they've got the businesses, and you can never pay for anything. I'm like, hell no, here. Mario, we don't want to see you lose. We got the stock tip, we got this, we got that. I'm like, wow. Those people, they want to watch you grow.
They want to elevate you.
And they want to elevate you. They're not sitting here going, okay, how can we get him?
Yeah.
How can we get him?
Absolutely.
How can we get him? Oh, we got him.
Yeah.
Now we're going to cultivate that. Yeah. And sometimes
those are life-giving
hard,
people.
Yeah,
Not only does it save your time and your gifting, but it does something for you in the sense that this is what I've learned personally. Because honestly, besides my family, I don't have a close friend.
That's my new lesson.
See, I don't have a close friend. And so what I learned was that man, listen to what I'm about to say. There are things that I have gone through, have learned, have gained knowledge, which has turned into wisdom that I could only get in the incubator of loneliness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I went from having thousands of friends to
0.
And then realizing this is okay, man, because Mario, I didn't realize how needy I was. I didn't realize how much I wanted acceptance. I didn't realize how much of a people pleaser I was. All these things were but it happened in the crucible of being alone.
Yeah.
And I think we have to honor the seasons that we live in. I think, like as a metaphor, if I could, we live in Central Texas. You know, we woke up today, it's like Chicago weather, man. 31, 32 degrees, super cold.
Freezing.
We might have some snowflakes tomorrow or something like that, I heard. I don't know.
Or in Austin, it could easily change to
78, 80, yeah.
Side. Wow.
So the thing is, if it's cold, you must dress for the season. If you're alone, then embrace the aloneness. I see people be like, hey, man, come out to the bar with us. Nah, I'm going to go home. Hey, man, come out to, so you want to go to this? Nah, going home. Man, well, how come you're able to do this and this? Because I don't have an $800 alcohol bill.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a $500 cocaine bill.
And you're focused.
Because
And you're focused.
because I go to the gym 6 days a week and I eat good and nutritious. And so if I would say something to your audience, it would be, do not run away from being alone. Embrace your season. Because your season dictates that you're supposed to get something out of that time period. There's wisdom and relationships and networks and opportunities that are in that season. And once that season passes, now you got to wait for next season.
Yeah.
So it causes us to be conscious and to be sensitive to everything that's going around us and in us, if I might say.
That loneliness, it comes in many forms.
It does.
I mean, once again, I think the wake-up call for me was that 3-7. Yeah.
And what's 3-7?
Total darkness. It's a cell.
Got it. 3-7. Got you.
3 by
I thought
7.
you were meaning your age.
Total
At
darkness.
37. Gotcha.
There's
So right there, that was.
Yeah, there's
boom.
times when, if you say certain things you're not supposed to say, they have to follow protocol.
Sure.
You're boom, boom, boom. Or if you get in trouble and you got to do certain things, But whether it's a prison cell, whether it's your living room, or your bedroom, or your bathroom, or hell, your podcast room.
Yeah, right.
I know a very, very wealthy man. I jumped in on him one afternoon, and he's sitting in his office, and his office kind of looks like, it's real cool. Mm-hmm. And I caught him by surprise. I'm like, what are you doing, man? He's like, I'm kind of watching. I'm just relaxing, Mario. I'm like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing because I do it,
Right.
And it's that loneliness, man, that really makes you understand who you are. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're either going to let it eat you alive, or you're going to let it build you up.
Yeah. And the worst thing we can do is try to go fix that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the movie 300.
Yes.
When they take the young kid,
they
put a spear in his hand, and they send him out into the wilderness to prove himself. He did it alone. There are things that happen to us in our alone time. I think of an old scripture in Acts 3:19. It says, "For when the times of refreshing come in the presence of the Lord." So let's take that apart. The word times is in plural. It's not singular.
Right.
So that's telling me that there's going to be multiple times where I have an opportunity, a divine opportunity for when the times of refreshing, the word refreshing. So you got times, multiple times, and in the Greek language, it's written in the infinitive. So there's no end. It just keeps going.
Keeps going.
Okay. Refreshing is the Greek word anasukias, which was a medical term, which was to heal a wound through the methodology of air. Remember, we're old enough to remember when we used to skin our knee or fall off the bike. Mm-hmm. It was that red iodine shit. Remember that? And the deal was you can put it on, but you got to blow on it real quick.
We're too old.
Soplale.
I know this is gonna be bad, but it's like red iodine for any kind of cut.
Yeah.
And X-Lax if you was feeling bad.
Yeah. Let's go back further. Castor oil. Remember castor oil? It was horrible. It was the snake venom of our day.
We're some good dudes. I'm not gonna put holes in there, but boy, you used to hate that.
Yeah.
Too. Like, no, Dad, God damn it, I know you don't jump that ramp.
Sometimes you had the whole family in there blowing on your knee.
I know, man. You had that little pit, that little thing in it with the ball in the end. You're like, no.
Dab it in there.
All right, man.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
But it's those things that we learn in our alone time, that if we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, I think that's one of the things, one of the greatest antithesis to being authentic is this thing about acceptance. So I've got to have the Starbucks mug or have the Gucci thing or the Louis Vuitton bag. And, I'm in a situation where I see people that are posing all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And they know enough to sound a little smart, but not enough to change their life.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get it.
And I know that there's some truth to fake it till you make it, but never losing your authenticity on the way. I don't believe in failure. I think we just fail forward, man.
Sure.
It's just...
Sure.
You
have to fail to learn.
Exactly. It's like the conduit of success is change.
And if you're not failing, you're not trying. You got to
give it a shot
together, man.
And
you're going to fail more than you win, too.
I think that's what I like about you. It's my first time meeting you, and my son Jared has told me about you, and he's a success in his own right. And I tell you, my oldest boy Jared, he's one of those guys in my inner circle, man.
Yeah.
He's a guy that challenges me. He's a guy that has my best interest in mind. And he's the guy, if I want compassion, I go to another son. Yeah. If I want straight dish, I go to Jared.
Well, let me tell you, Mr. Jared, I know Jared very well, man. He's
the grit life.
He's the grit life dude. These guys called me up one day. They were like, yeah, we've been watching you, Mario. I'm like, who is this? It's like, yeah, we want to put you on this grid life thing. I'm like, hold on, man, it's got to be some BS.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So then I get to this place, really nice building. Everything's, I got the parking space right up front. Comes and greets me. We go into this beautiful setup.
The one downtown?
Downtown,
yeah. That was a nice one.
I'm going, okay, man, this is looking like it's going to be something. Man, I'll tell you, the first time I saw the first clip from my podcast with him, I was just like, holy hell, man.
It's awesome.
And that's what pushed me to doing the wake-up call,
Mm-hmm.
And
it's part giving back.
Yeah, giving back.
That's what I appreciate about you. It's like when I meet people that are like, man, I've been through X, Y, and Z. And because of that, I want to be at a place where I can be life-giving to people to avoid some of the stupidness that I did.
Man, dude,
because if I can learn off of your dime,
dude,
without having to experience it,
see,
I'm there.
And that's what it's all about, man. I mean, that was my wake-up call, man. I mean, I know that there was a reason. Hell, man, we all go through crazy-ass shit. You know that.
Yeah,
we did the drugs, the gangsters, and now, the ministry, and then things change after that. Yep. Hell, I was the BMX star, didn't finish school, went on to having multiple businesses, including cartel fun and a whole bunch of other shit. And you really wake up and you go, wow, man, I've been taken away for so long. And yeah, you're faking it till you make it.
Yeah.
And what is making it? I mean, I don't know, man. I think we made it because we got the horseshoe driveway and the 3-tier fountain and skateboard ramp and cars and the ranch and the villa. What's making it?
Sure.
Because you can have all that and still be unhappy.
Totally
unhappy.
And it'd be a mess.
Yeah. A lot of people go, Mario, what is going on with you? I mean, I'm hitting a very good age.
Yeah.
Pretty
freaky, isn't it, man?
Man, I know guys that are 10 years younger that look 20 years older.
Absolutely.
So we've done really good, man.
Absolutely.
But it's like you take away for so long, there comes a point where you got to wake up and go, whoa, the only thing I can do now is give back.
Yeah.
So, you know, we say we've got to distance ourselves from certain people. It tickles me when people ask me, why? Why did you do, man, Mario, why are you doing that? Oh, man, I got to go pick up my daughter. I got to go pick my daughter up for cheerleading. I'll talk to you about it later. Let me give you my number, Mario. I'll catch you on the Facebook. I just got away from that why.
Right.
The why is save you time and money.
Absolutely.
Anybody that asks you why you're doing what you're doing today, man, it's, you know,
That's
you should
awesome.
know. You
Absolutely.
should know. So yeah, I try to...
You know, you asked real quick. Let me interrupt you just for a quick second because you had a thought. It's like, you know, you have the horseshoe, the ranch, all this, and you've made it, and, you know, what is it? And I didn't understand it when I was younger. My dad, who passed away at almost 70, the last 10 years of his life would always say to me, I just want peace, mijo. I just want peace.
Yeah.
And here I am a couple years away, less than that, from 60, and I'm like, you know, man, I've got peace in my mind. Why do I have peace in my mind? Because I'm doing no one any harm, number one. Number two, I'm living an authentic life. Number three, I give back daily. Just in my life.
Yeah.
By being loving and kind and compassionate
Sure.
to other people who I might see who are going through something. And though I'm not making the money that I used to make,
Sure. It's not...
I am happier.
Yeah.
Now, granted, do I miss, you know, dirt bikes and all this and all that? Yeah, but that stuff comes and goes,
Yeah.
man.
It does.
But to be able to sit here at this point and go, hey, Mario, we made it, bro.
We made it.
We made it out.
Yes.
And a lot of cats don't make it out.
I did that with a guy
and that's
yesterday
success.
at lunch, man. Me and him, you know, I regulated the clubs. He ran the clubs. I mean, man, these guys, successful man. Very big successful builder now today in Austin. Man, we made it.
Yeah.
And we were lucky to even be sitting there talking to each other.
Absolutely.
And hell, man, I told him, man, I've been watching you, and man, you've got me on my trail, my new life. And
Yeah.
but yeah, man, it's
Think
crazy
about
like
you, man.
that.
You know, here we are, approaching 60 years of age.
We made it.
We've endured all this. We've accumulated this wisdom. We've got the scars to prove
Yeah.
it. But now we're at a place where we're like,
So if we can put it
I'm
together,
going to give it back.
yeah.
I had an old guy used to come. He was a bishop from Jamaica. And this guy was huge. He would hold crusades and 40, 50,000 people would show up. And I'd go speak at his conference every year. And he said, a man's life, he says, he spoke like a Jamaican, real old, like 80-year-old dude, real gruff. And he said, a man's life is divided in 30-year increments. And he says the first 30 years, a man is learning. He's learning. He's learning.
Mm-hmm.
The second half of the 30 years, he's establishing. He's establishing. He's establishing. He goes, the last 30 years should be spent giving it away.
Giving them back, yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, what a novel idea. Where most people are just trying to hoard it and use it as I'm better than you tool.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are at this point of life going, hey, you know, maybe someone's watching and they're 25, 20 years old and they're thinking, I need some direction in my life.
Yeah.
You know, just the other night, I invited some guys and some people from work. They invited me out for a drink. And I was like, oh, I'll go out for a drink. I'll go this time. Mm-hmm. I said, I'm done. I'm leaving. They're like, oh, don't leave. My mom currently is going through some cancer. And we got a bad report that day. And they're like, you're not leaving. And I'm going home. They're like, we're going home with you. So 10 people from work go over to my apartment. We stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning standing there. Them just listening to me, talking to them about how to improve their life, about my story, my journey. I felt so alive after that. Because it was like, I dropped seeds, man. Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing, Mario.
Yeah, dropping seeds.
We're dropping seeds and we're believing for a harvest one day in the lives of those people.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and I think that's been the big shift for you and I, Mario, is that we've turned our attention away from material things to things that really matter.
don't get me wrong. I'm still going to crash the sneaker.
Oh, yeah.
The sneaker shops on a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
It's just
I believe,
the difference is it's not going to be the mark of your success.
I believe the more I can make, the more I can give away. That's my master plan now.
Absolutely.
And it's to people that I don't even know.
Philanthropy.
I've gotten in trouble for doing it to the people that I do know. Now I'm in a whole different thing. But yeah, if you can walk into a store, this is why I have to wake up. And Lord knows, yeah, we do some crazy things at times.
Sure.
And it's Him that allows us to either come and see Him or not. He tells me, keep your ass down there. You got the sword. You put him on the rock.
Right.
Because I believe that. I hold the sword. Don't get caught on the rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. If I can walk in a store and I might see you behind the counter and you're dressed up nice, but you're frowning. You might be a young lady or a young man. I'll throw something out there and get you. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, damn, girl, those nails are looking good. And you know, that frown will turn to, I'm like, there it is. I got it. Now you got the smile and the nails to go. Man,
Yeah.
Don't hurt them now behind that counter
Right.
now. Don't break no hearts. Now all of a sudden that person, man, they just got happy. They could have been dwelling on what they were going to do when they got home to their emptiness,
Absolutely.
to their loneliness.
Yeah.
So
People respond
yes,
when you acknowledge
yes, you've saved a life.
them.
You saved a life.
that person could have gone home and was going to kill themselves, but you was like, hey, girl,
There
look
it
at
is.
them
And that's-
nails and you look good. And
you have to know that. Okay, for me, I have to know that, and I do know that because I'm that person.
yeah.
I am, man. So I make sure that, yeah, I was really happy when, you know, my team came up with the wake-up call because I'm like, holy, man, we can do that. I just got to get out of my own way.
Sure.
And sometimes we don't think we're worthy enough of doing the things we are supposed to be doing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing sitting here talking to a man of your caliber.
I'm nobody.
But you know, man, it's His will.
Absolutely.
And all we can do is do what we can do to make Him smile. You
Yeah.
know, keep Him smiling. So that's my quest, man, is just to get out there. I see you doing a lot of that. I see you, you know, on your Facebook platform every morning, every day, throughout the day, encouraging people.
That's all I want to do.
Boom, 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 and
You know that, Mario, that
means
came,
a lot.
that came out of, you know, just being in a place where I was in that alone time and I felt the greatest, I'm a real positive guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I prided myself on all, you know. I used to look at people that were going through struggles and they got depressed and be like, you're weak mentally. You just need to be strong, man. And then I found myself
Yes.
in a place and I was like,
Yeah. Whoa, what did I just say?
okay, tough guy, how come
See?
you're not
Oh,
bucking
man,
up?
I did that same here.
And I had to eat humble pie and I was
Have
like,
to, man. Have to.
so it allowed me to become more sympathetic and compassionate to
Gotta
people.
be, man.
And so I know we're coming to toward the end of our podcast today, but I do want to say this, that, you know, we've talked about wake up call pass, wake up call in the middle, but you know, man, I'm in the middle of a wake up call, and so are you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're answering the call. And I'm looking to get out of my own way. And
sure.
and you know, I don't think we're old, man. I think the best days are
Oh,
ahead
no.
of us.
I don't use words like
Yeah,
that.
and I believe
we're good.
There's an army of people that are sitting, even listening to this right now, and are going to share it with a friend. They're going to send a
Sure they
link to
are.
somebody and be like, "You got to
Sure
check
they
this
are.
out, man." That they're going to be like, "I received a life-giving message, and I received my wake-up call, wake-up call, wake-up call. Will you answer the wake-up call? You know, did you put action to the wake-up call? Did you formulate a plan? Did you create a strategy?
Yeah.
Did you make a timeline? You know, what are you doing with it?" That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know, I to say this, I got so disillusioned with my profession and what I did in ministry that I gave it all up.
Oh, yes.
And I just got a Facebook page and an Instagram thing, and
Yeah.
I just make little videos. I don't ask people for money. I don't try to maximize my views or anything. I just put it out there. But I got to get serious about it because, you
We
know,
all do.
we really do, you know. And you know why it is? It's for many different reasons. One, it's because I want to leave a proper legacy of my life.
Yes, man. Yes. The wow.
Yeah,
we
that's
want to
right.
create that
Yeah,
big wow.
The legacy, so that my honestly, I give a flip about so many other people, what they think, but I really care about what my kids think and what my grandchildren think. So then they'd say, Papa George did it right, man. You know, let me tell you the story of Papa George, man. He went through all this stuff,
Yes.
but man, he got back on that horse and he
Yeah.
gave back,
See?
and he was a success in my eyes. And I think that's why we're relating a lot. Is we're at Same age, going
man.
through the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
things,
yes.
and we know that there's a great sense of purpose to our life.
With the road we had to travel, and once again, we had to travel, I do believe there are very big plans and purposes for people like us.
Yeah.
It's a meant to be thing, because we were blessed to experience all this stuff. It wasn't by coincidence.
Yeah.
It was just our time, His plan.
I like what somebody said once, a coincidence is nothing more than God working incognito.
That's it, my man. That is totally it. And with that, with the road we had to travel, we are now able to keep others from going down that road. It's just cut and dry.
Exactly.
I mean,
now, there's a proverb, right? What you just said. Think about this. It says, deep are the purposes of a man's life, but it is a man of understanding that knows how to draw it out of you.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And that's what you're doing. That's what I'm doing right now. Is that, and I would tell the people that are watching, when you find a person who can draw the deep purposes out of your life by asking the right questions, putting good material in front of you, getting around life-giving people, that all of a sudden, wow, this guy has an ability to see even what I can't see.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And so that's why I appreciate you.
Oh, man.
Appreciate the wake-up call.
know,
and I appreciate all those people out there who are
yeah.
going to answer and do something with their wake-up call.
George, I'll tell you, man, that's what it's all about. What we can do to make everybody else's life a little bit easier.
Absolutely.
And in the meantime, have some fun.
I'm down.
George,
Love
man,
you, man.
thank you, man. Thank
I
you,
wish you
George.
success in all
bet,
that you
George.
do.
Man, we'll see you again.
You got it.
Thanks, George.
Peace.